is the get rich quick scheme. Just start a trade. Just learn a trade. Just make AI start up the new religion. And one of the reasons I'm seeing it this way is because I was thinking about a video that I made, I guess it was longer ago than I thought it was at this point. If that's the right video, which actually I don't think it is. No, I think maybe it was in December. Was it that long ago? I don't know, but pretty much I talk about the different games that I've had played with me, to make a long story short, by the religious and spiritual community, especially since 14, and just being either being given the runaround and just having my time wasted, or worse, pretty much just kind of getting robbed, and even with people knowing that I'm a street kid or homeless youth, because of the whole thing with me having to escape my cash for kids system and other abuse, and how how do I put this? Hopefully this is gonna make sense in the end, but it kind of makes me think about as well when I was saying, maybe not even on this channel, it might have been when I was still doing the abuse evidence channels, or maybe it was this one, but I was saying, is deliverance the new just go to therapy, or is deliverance the new therapy, something like that. I don't really remember what all I mentioned there, but one thing that I think about now that I may have not even thought about then is that one, a lot of that stuff is made to seem more simple and easier than it is, and then if it doesn't work, kind of like my numerous situations with the whole deliverance counseling thing, and even looking for mentorship and hoping that someone would help me, even though I already knew that the reason that this really kept failing and people kept playing games with me and then ghosting me is because nobody cares. You have to save yourself, which is why many of us end up out here in the first place, because we know that there is no help and you have to escape your abuse and hide and save yourself. That's why a lot of us end up out here to a certain extent, because most quote unquote homeless people, I hate that term, but most of them are foster kids and stuff like that anyways. But anywho, I knew that that's why I kept not working, but I felt I just needed to keep trying whenever things got hard, and I was just at a bad point in different things in my situation, because I wanted someone to talk to, especially somebody that was older, that wasn't, or that I would hope wouldn't be toxic, and a sexual predator, which luckily none of the people that I went to were sexual predators or toxic, but generally people just don't want to be bothered, and that's what I mainly talk about, I think, in the video that I'm gonna try to leave a link to, but TikTok most likely isn't gonna let me. But either way, the video is definitely in my playlist titled "There's Help Out There" model, quote unquote. That's the title, or quote unquote "There's Help Out There" model. I don't really know which way to say it, but yeah. Something that I've noticed, because lately I've been watching a lot of financial videos, I would say since about not even January. It's been even more recent months than that. But for the past few months I've been watching a lot of financial videos about tech type stuff, even more, because I was always interested in it, but I kind of left it alone for a little while because of issues with different things in my situation, and me wanting to me wanting and being interested in building things and Raspberry Pis and wanting to learn to solder, but even since before running away, just a lot of things with that not really being able to happen, so I kind of left it alone for a little bit. But lately I've been watching a lot of finance, AI, tech, semiconductor, etc. videos, and also a lot of podcast or interview type things, real interviews, not this exploitative stuff with the people running around recording people in horrible situations and them and everybody in the comments section just about talking junk about the person. I've been watching like real interviews, which actually I have a video about you're not really being interviewed, you're being exploited. I think that's the title. But anyways, so I noticed that like pretty much just because, as I've always realized, this is how marketing works. It's really just manipulation / emotional witchcraft. It's people trying to like talk you up and spit game pretty much to like get you to buy something, or really like guilt trip you and victim blame you. I really don't want to use the word victim because I know people are gonna start, well, I doubt anybody's even gonna leave a comment, but I know people start saying, oh, victim complex this and victim complex that. And of course, since I'm a melanated person, like I've had people try to do stuff like that with me somewhat, in some places more than others. But it's like pretty much people try to like guilt trip you into buying stuff for them. I mean from them, or before them too, but from them. This isn't coming out at all how I want it to, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna try to give an example. So like I'm not gonna name names, but throughout the years, a lot of the people in the spiritual religious sector, I won't say a lot, some of them, like they would talk about the whole poverty is a mindset thing, which I mean, I could get the truth to that, but like I said in that hour plus long video that's unlisted, I don't remember the title, I put a screenshot, it's in the playlist so it'll be visible there, where I kept adding stuff on over and over again because I kept forgetting things and thinking about something else I could add in that video. I know I mentioned how like the past couple months, the more I've gotten fed up with like a lot of stuff that was like I feel like it was kind of tied to like a lot of magical thinking, because like especially before running away and in my earlier days of being out here, I did have like a lot of hopes and dreams. Not saying that I'm like saying screw it, not that that's really an option anyways, but like I did have like a lot of hopes and dreams of what I was gonna do and what I was gonna be able to accomplish. Like even before running away, I was like watching those videos, like if you really wanted to make money, if you really wanted to fix your situation and stuff like that, which I have a recent video about this as well. I think it's titled they say get your crap together until they say no, or something like that. It's kind of recent. I think that's the video I'm thinking about, where I have screenshots of like some other person in a bad situation talking about how they also fell into similar videos. But anywho, so due to stuff like that, like I remember a little before running, no, maybe like a year or two before running, I had made my first print-on-demand store. I kept saying I was doing drop shipping until like literally a few months ago I found out that actually what I was calling drop shipping was actually me trying to do print-on-demand, but I didn't know the difference in the names apparently. But I tried that, and it's like they're telling you just do this, just do that, just do this, just do that, but like nobody actually mentioned the fact that you can't just like make something and then like you can't just like make a t-shirt or a phone case or a book or something and then like expect for money to just start falling out the sky. There's actually like a lot of marketing and stuff that actually goes along with that. And then it's like also because like some of the stuff that I made on my first print-on-demand store on Redbubble revolves around my situation. And I know like when I tried to market it on Reddit, because I used to be in support groups a lot, and the money was supposed to like help for once I'm out here and even like into my future, because I thought that this shop would work long term or at all. I was really hyping myself up. But I remember this one guy was like, you're profiting off of people's trauma or something like that, because like it revolved around me exposing the cash for kids system and the human cash cow systems and breaking all of it down. And I was like, well, for one, I'm talking about my life right now, and I'm not profiting at all. But that's not something that would sell anyway, so it was just like a really stupid idea, to be honest. And it's like, there's a lot of like, it's gatekeeping for one. It's like they blame you and they guilt trip you and stuff like that, and tell you if you really want it better for yourself, then you do this, this, and that. But of course they don't actually tell you how to really do it, because one, there isn't really one set way to do something. Two, they're probably lying about like how they really got where they are. For some of these people want whatever business they're in to be gate kept. They don't want it to be oversaturated. They're not going to let everybody in and start making money, and then they lose money. And then mainly like they want you to like buy some course or counseling call or mentorship, something from them. And there's nothing wrong with that. But one of the things that I always talk about is that like nobody wants to get involved in people who are in bad or dangerous situations, or even people that aren't but really just can't afford this stuff. Nobody really wants to like help those people. I know people say that like, oh, you just want handouts or whatever, or you just want to use somebody, but it's kind of like, it's just really interesting because it just goes in like how manipulative people really are, because it's like people, I don't even know how to put it. It's like people tell you that you don't want better, but then when you ask them to help you do quote unquote better in the matrix sense of success, you ask them to like help you with that and you say that you do want it, they either play these like weird financial games or they're like a sexual predator or something else. But I'm not even going to go into that side, because there's a lot of stuff with that would kind of be relevant even to the point of this video. But anywho, another thing that I think about that I fell into, and luckily haven't in a couple months, is the whole, if you donate to this thing, even though you're in your own very dangerous situation and nobody gives a crap, and none of the grown folks, as they call themselves, give a crap, you donate to them, and then they'll supposedly help somebody, or they'll use the money for something good, or you'll get something good in return, in like a reap and sowing type thing. And or you donate the money, and then they supposedly help somebody who's in the same situation as you, but in another country, or in America or the United States or whatever. But then it's like, how true is that anyways? And it's like, okay, I also meant to say, and these people also claim that they'll help you as well. I don't know if I said that. And then I also wanted to quickly throw in something that I've talked about since abuse evidence channels, because I've always watched documentaries on like street kids and stuff even before I escaped my own abuse situation. For one, people don't want to help street kids and homeless in general in the U.S. They want to pretend that it's just like something in Africa or something, even though the reasons for homelessness there, they're often different, not even for the same reasons as here. But there's street kids there as well who are also out there because their runaways are kicked out. But in America, people go to jail for that, and you also are told legally that you can't help them, and you're made to feel like you're the bad guy for giving them food. People hop on boats and planes to go help people in other countries who are in the same situations as people in America, yet in their countries they don't go to jail for it. In America, kids go to jail for getting street food. So at least like in other countries they can actually go to youth shelters and stuff. Like, for a while I did fall and stuff like that, and honestly, even like after the whole thing, I realized that I was kind of like pressured into that stuff, and now I really wish that I would have like used the money for something else, or saved it, or used it to get something to eat, because it's like, okay, I'm doing this. And I know that like people say that that's like a fake way of it's a bad what's the word, like giving mentality. I don't think that's what that's called at all. It's a bad mindset to have, like you're supposed to like cheerfully give or whatever. And I get that, but that's not really like what I was necessarily trying to do. I wasn't trying to be like, okay, I'm getting this because like I want to pretend to be nice because I want to hopefully get something back in return, in like some type of spiritual repayment sense. It was, I mean, I guess it kind of is tied to that, but that's also because like that's what the people were like claiming, like if you give me this, then your situation is gonna get better, and just different stuff like that. And it's all kind of embarrassing, to be honest, especially because like somebody like me, knowing the things that I've known and pieced together throughout my life, and like knowing that this stuff was a bull crap, but still like having hope in it anyways, and different things like that. And that's why, especially the past couple months, I've gotten more and more fed up with a lot of this toxic positivity, which I never liked because it's always used by like religious and spiritual and even atheistic people who are just trying to like manipulate people in bad situations, which I talk about especially in my more recent video. The thumbnail has the Let Them Theory book in it. I think the video is titled My View on the Let Them Theory or something like that. And like I said, I'm not like trying to throw shots at the person who wrote the book. I mean, I guess maybe it could be considered that, but that's really not what I'm trying to do. Generally, it's just my view on it, and like the people that use these types of like toxic positivity type terms that are often used to manipulate people in bad and abuse situations in general. Hopefully that came out right. And it even makes me think about a post I made in a video that I made, don't remember what it was titled, where I talk about toxic positivity and being gaslit about chronic illness, like having people, well, I mean, I guess I can't even really count the whole literally being manipulated about me being sick and chronically ill, because that's like literally just like mainstream medical gaslighting and gaslighting from abusers. But more so the people that tell me, oh, well, don't say you're sick, and pretty much just like pretend that I don't have the iatrogenic health issues that I do from my abuse situation, just like go about my life like la-di-da, like I don't have hypoglycemia and hypochlorhydria and low C-peptide and stuff like that, and just like pretty much pretend it's not there, which if I would have kept doing that, for one, I would have been dead and I wouldn't have started curing myself either. So that, yeah. But it makes you think about that, and like how mandated reporters and especially therapy type people tell you when you're like being strangled and essayed and stuff, they'll tell you don't focus on what your abusers and whoever else is doing to you, because you can only control yourself and you need to learn how to have happiness in your mind, stuff like that. This goes into what I'm trying to say, and hopefully this is going to make sense, because like really it's all kind of magical thinking, and this is why the past couple months I'm really kind of tired of a lot of this like hope deferred type stuff in this. Also the just be grateful stuff. What that really does is tell people to be complacent, and then, like somebody once said, telling someone you can't be sad because somebody else is sadder is like telling somebody you can't be happy because somebody else is happier. And also, I don't even like when people compare situations, because for one, you're just talking about or admitting that like you know somebody who's in a really dangerous situation, but you're not going to help them or do anything because you don't care. Because people be like, well, I mean, you know, you may be getting beat up, but I know a boy who's being essayed by his dad, and so your situation could be worse. Okay, you know that, and then what are you doing about it? I hate when people say stuff like that. There's a lot of issues with all of that, and it's like, I hate all of it more and more as the days go by, because it's like it keeps you in this complacent mindset, sitting around hoping for help and helping a savior that doesn't exist, and it keeps you thinking that somebody gives a crap when people don't. It keeps you sitting in situations that you could probably escape anyways. Not saying it's going to be easy, especially due to like all the laws put in place to keep people in bad situations and a lot of things that go along with that. It keeps you, what else? It also keeps you in a magical thinking type mindset that can also eventually drive you insane. Like since I've been back in the South, I noticed like a lot of people, they just have this, what some people call the Jesus Fix-It complex, which I have a whole playlist about that. And generally, religion is NWO. Like, I know the point of religion is to get people to hate the Most High. it's a lot of stuff with that, but I don't even know what else to say about it. Oh yeah, but no, actually, yes, I do know what else to say. The last thing, I think. So, going back to like religious and spiritual videos that I've watched throughout the years, and the whole poverty is a mindset thing. Like I said, I get the truth to that. I even feel like I have like a lot of ideas, I guess I could say, that a lot of people probably wouldn't like or expect me to have, as somebody that's now labeled off as quote-unquote homeless, which I don't like anyways. But like there's still a lot of issues with that video I mentioned a couple times. I just feel like listening to a lot of this stuff, even still to this day, like I even have a compilation I just uploaded of 2 videos a few days ago, and in the first clip it's a guy talking about how the world doesn't care about your story, so you shouldn't either. Because the stuff is true. I mean, it's not lies, it's all true. Nobody gives a crap. But it's still really not helpful to people in bad and dangerous situations who are at risk of being hurt or whatever in the world. But it's still true. And then also, like a lot of the financial videos I've been watching lately, to get to the point, it helps me understand where like these spiritual and religious people have been getting like these talking points, because people in the financial space, they have these same talking points. And of course, like I mean, Christendom is ran by Freemasons anyways. Like most pastors are Masons under the pagan Roman Catholic Church. I know even Pastor Stephen Darby, he had a video where he talked about, I think that was him, he talked about the prosperity gospel and how they got it from some Freemason doctrine. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but yeah. So not that there's anything wrong with having money, but it's just a lot of manipulation. It's a lot of like you need to give me money because if you don't, this if you do, this will happen, and a lot of stuff like that. And like crap, I still remember situations where I was offered mentorships because I needed an adult guidance, and what else was it, and to be held accountable, quote unquote, whatever that really means, and to pretty much just guidance. And then I was ghosted, and that wasn't even something that I like asked for. That was something that was offered when I had already paid for like counseling and stuff like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I wasn't even paid back for that consistently canceled counseling appointment that I had paid for till over a year later. And that was because like I kind of forgot about it a couple times, but I would email, and I finally eventually got a response one day. And I'm not even trying to bash people, because like these people are busy a lot, but it's just like, it's like, yeah, I get that nobody's coming to save you. I get that nobody's going to take care of you, and you can't ask for handouts and live off the kindness of others and all that stuff that people say, to pull yourself up from your bootstraps. But it is kind of unfortunate that like I still had so many games played with me since 14, and even kind of younger, but especially since 14, with like these types of people. Like after paying for supposed help. And it's funny because people always say get help and stuff like that as an insult, but there is no help, and that's why you need help in the first place, because there was never any help when you asked for it, or when you needed it in the get-go or whatever in the world. People help you be torn apart and abused and tortured, but that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could say. But yeah, so my point is that like the more I've been watching this financial stuff, the more I get like where a lot of these religious and spiritual people get a lot of their talking points, and it really seems like the financial and career space is religion and vice versa. I don't know if this is going to make any sense at all. Hopefully somebody will get it if anybody even watches this, but it's like if you pretty much money manipulation. I don't even know what else to call it. Advertising. It's emotional witchcraft and manipulation. People trying to get you to buy something or guilt trip you and victim blame you into buying something or giving them money in hopes of like getting some value out of it, whether it's something tangible and physical or something that's not. And then of course you don't get it, and then your situation's the same or it gets worse and worse, especially because like some of these people are witches anyways, specifically in the spiritual space, but I mean either way really. So here's some things that I wanted to add that I wrote some notes on. 5/24/26. Something I thought about. Business and finance and spiritual people have been talking about the transformation of wealth for over a year now. But many will miss it because they're giving money to manipulators instead of funding their own business ideas or whatever. I also wanted to add the whole just do a trade thing, which I may have mentioned this, but I don't know. But one of the things about this, without going into like a trauma dump, is that what could I say? Generally, which I definitely talked about this in some video a couple of years ago, especially if you're in bad situations, quote unquote, I guess I could say that, or situations that people think is supposed to be a rock bottom, like I talk about with quote unquote homelessness, even though you just ran away or got kicked out or escaped whatever trafficking situation, it's supposed to be your break in a good point in time for you. But unfortunately, since people see it as what they would see their rock bottom as, now they want to project all that on you and treat you like crap. Also the fact that they feel like you're getting a free pass and a break that they're not getting, which I'm going to make a video about. Some of that again, but in a different perspective that I don't think I've talked about that much. But anywho, people will try to like guilt trip you into ending up in trafficking situations, even labor trafficking. Like I know a lot of people that get labeled off as homeless, they end up in a lot of labor woofing / farm work and stuff like that, where they end up not getting paid. They're trapped on a farm somewhere. I kind of paused for a minute because this dude just came by, and he reminds me of one of the reasons why I'm making my video that's going to be titled what was I going to title it? Maybe I'll title it "It Never Ends," but pretty much it just goes in what I talk about in my playlist. Why people are after you / zombies, how you're treated the same in every situation with a new excuse. And unfortunately, the trauma just piles on top of each other, which I've talked about those types of scenarios since the Abuse Evidence channels and before. Anywho, another thing, being told just do a trade. If you have like chronic illness or like some type of serious health issue, don't let people guilt trip you into thinking that that's about to work out. And I know people are going to say people just have a victim complex and all. No. I'm going to be honest. If you, for some of these things, you would need parents' permission or whatever in the world, voter records, if you're trying to like actually go to a trade school or something. There's a lot of stuff with that. But if you're somebody who's like me with eye treating metabolic issues, if you're like 80 pounds, and they're not gonna hire you. Like, and I still I recently made a video titled get your stuff together until they say no or something like that, and I talk about and show the whole thing of me doing the volunteer construction work, because of course I didn't really have I didn't really have any other options, and I thought that like I could use that as experience, but I was really just being used and doing work that I nowhere near even had the health to do. And I've even found out more things, a piece of my health together since that whole situation in like sometime in 2024 to 2025. But don't let people guilt trip you into spending your time doing things that you literally can't do or that literally won't work. That makes you not focus on doing the things that you actually could do or probably could do. And then I also wonder how many of these people just do what I could call the Kiyosaki effect. Claim to be rich until people believe you, then actually get rich off of getting people to pay you to teach them how to get rich like you are. I mentioned many times before that people in spiritual and Christendom communities are big for this. They'll brag about having money and how people choose to be poor, which I personally don't even like when people call me quote unquote poor. But one of the things about it is that when people know you have no protection, they start saying all the things about how they really feel, which that could go into the other video I mentioned I'm going to make. But it's easy to say that when you get people to cash app you hundreds of dollars for talking in live streams or whatever, not everyone wants to be a manipulative scammer. Honestly, I could have saved lots of money, especially since 14, if I wouldn't have let people like this use me after getting pulled into the quote-unquote do what you're supposed to do and quote-unquote pull yourself up from your bootstraps, and hundreds of other insults from people around me and randoms till this day. Lastly, which this isn't even the last thing, as I've said more and more the past months, I don't want a magical thing mouthed after daydream and hope my way through life anymore. I want something real. I want something real and tangible, because things are either actually going to get better or they're not. I had someone recently tell me something that many of us do our whole lives. Another abuse victim, but I've been trying to stop doing, which can also go into my thing I've been saying since the abuse vids. Only predatory people help people. Stable people don't want to be bothered with others in their lives, especially kids, or really just especially abuse victims, traumatized people, whatever in the world. But generally they don't want to be bothered with other people's lives in general. I mean, nobody does really. But like that dude said in my own video titled "Nobody Cares," everybody's being used unless you're useless. Actually, no, that's not even the quote that I really meant to say. That doesn't really fit what I'm trying to say here. Mostly nobody cares, and people just want to use you. That's pretty much it. I think I skipped something, or I'm just not reading the part that I thought I was, but what I actually put right here is somebody had said to me in a support group that I may stumble across someone who will change my life, and I don't want to think like that anymore, because that stuff, all that magical think and hope stuff, that keeps you in a cycle, and that can drive you insane too. I mean, it could keep you sane longer than accepting the actual reality of the world, but that'll drive you insane too. Especially a real, that I don't want to, wait. I'm just going to keep going. Especially a real adoptive parent or family that actually love you and care and understand and spend time with you. That's not real. Most people are abused, since most of it is called discipline. People don't even like or want their own kids. Crap, I'm where I am right now due to this type of maladaptive daydreaming, somewhat. No, I'm where I am right now due to this fairy tale, because I couldn't really see, so I just threw in whatever. Even though I'm reminded day by day how much parents and older people in general aren't safe. I had a dream of being adopted by a lady and getting to have siblings that actually liked me and play games with me. Then that's why I'm in my current situation and destination. Long story. Moms are evil. Overall, it's not a healthy way of thinking. It's hope a delusion, ? I've heard other abused people say they're running on hope, dreams, and adrenaline. I'd had cortisol. I knew I should have KMS before 10 years old, especially by 12 to 14, but I was too scared to go to hell, and I wasn't sure if 10 years old was at the age of accountability or not, which is Catholic doctrine many don't believe in, apparently. LOL, I completely forgot that oh no, that's something else. Okay, side things. Also, like school, you believe you'll be rewarded for good behavior. I'm getting bit up by mosquitoes. I think the point that I was saying is that, like, I don't even remember honestly, but I also think about when I was scammed by that mic drop, and then I think about how I was almost scammed actually recently by this course thing, which I don't even know what I was thinking with that, because I don't have like any of the stuff that you can need for that. Like, they want you to have credit, of course. Of course I don't have that, but like generally I don't even know what I was thinking with that. So I guess I didn't really, I mean, they thought that they got me, but I didn't have the money anyway, so. I just thought about how in the spiritual and the financial space, there's often this whole thing, there's going to be background noise, or people are like, if you really wanted this, you'd spend $3,000 for my class, because people spend money on what they want to spend money on, and you'll spend $3,000 on everything else, and it's like, who? Not me, because I haven't had $3,000 to spend on everything else. And so, anywho, they'll say things like that, and I was just thinking about how it makes me think about how I've said, since the evidence channels, but especially this channel, which, I mean, this was a part of the evidence channels, but since I rebranded this one, kind of, all predatory people do the same things. Like, there's a lot of situations that I've been in recent times with chomo type people, or well, with chomos and just general sexual predatory type people, I mean. And they use the same manipulation tactics and stuff, and they do and say the same crap that my quote-unquote parents would say in the cash for kids system staff, and even other human cash cow system staff that I've had experience with in the past and even in recent times. So, like, pretty much they do this one manipulation tactic where it's like, you're not giving me what I want, so let me find some way to make it your fault. Kind of like, I'm trying to think specifically with the sexual predator example, because like people run around talking about quote-unquote pedo, stuff like that, but generally people are all using these same manipulation tactics. But anywho, I'm trying to think of a good example. Okay, good example based off of a situation a couple weekends ago, which plenty of people that work at resource centers and these religious organizations filled with sexual predators that call themselves helping people and helping poor people or helping homeless or whatever, they do the same thing. Literally, like I always say, when you're wait a minute, people treat you the same in every situation but with a different excuse. So, like, even before running away, there's plenty of like manipulation tactics like this. But when you're out here especially, you're gonna have people do this line pretty much where they're like, you won't do this and that I want you to do. Well, you don't want help, and you need to hit your rock bottom, whatever that really means, and you need to be ready for change, stuff like that. So I always point out how funny it is that, like, when you're in the abuse situation, you're screaming and crying out for help, but there is no help. You have to save yourself. So people don't help, and they tell you that's none of their business and all those different things. They do that, but then once you save yourself and you're out here, now all of a sudden people come out the woodworks wanting to quote unquote help you. If they don't just straight up ignore you, which honestly, the people, I mean, I'd rather have somebody ignore me, to be honest, and just act like they don't see me than play these usual mind games. But anywho, all of a sudden people come out the woodworks talking about wanting to quote unquote help, which of course is just like more abuse pretty much in mind games. And then I talk about all the time all the people that all of a sudden want to call the police and turn you in and get you sent back quote unquote home and all that, because now all of a sudden they're worried about you and your safety, but nobody's worried about your safety when you're getting your face bashed in the middle of Walmart and stuff, or when you're being starved to death or whatever in the world. Actually, no, better example than the one I was gonna use this recent. This was, I still think this was like last year. So the Chomo priest, when I was in Cali, I'm not 13, but he thinks I am. So he was like, he's still a Chomo, and he's like 50 or 60. But anywho, he was like, you're a beautiful 13-year-old, and I'm not gonna let you tempt me with your prostitution. And if you really want help, you'll let me get some people to help me help you. But you're not ready for change, and let me know when you're ready for change, when you're ready to get off the streets and stop, the whole stop being a homeless dirty bum thing. People do stuff like that all the time. If you really wanted a better situation for yourself, you come be my living SA slave. But now to give the recent example, because I feel like that priest thing was a good example. So this dude, which I see him pretty often because he goes to the resource centers. I didn't even know he had a house, to be honest, but apparently most of these people aren't homeless. They're just like looking for victims. Another story. He was trying to like lure me in his house with candy like 2 or 3 weekends ago. And of course I was like, And then it's like he had Tootsie Rolls at that. Not even like anything he didn't even have like a chocolate bar. But anywho, he was like, well, I'm trying to help you, and if you really wanted help, then you take this candy because I'm trying to give you candy. And it's just like, I can't eat candy anyways, actually. But, well, I eat chocolate sometimes, but I really can't even eat candy. But that's not even the point, actually. So, yeah, all of that is the same thing, to be honest.